We just got back from 2 days at Sydney Motorsport Park, watching ASBK's return to that venue, and it was fantastic to see so much great racing happen between all the classes. The nighttime activity was fantastic, and we got pretty good numbers through the gates by the looks of it as well, which is good to see. So in this catch-up show, it's pretty raw. I walked around after the final race of the evening and got to catch up with a few riders as everyone was packing up. So there's heaps of banging and clanging and all sorts of things. The PA system was still on at the circuit, so a bit of music in the background. But as I said, pretty raw. Hope you enjoy the chat. In this one, we got to sit down with the race winner, Josh Waters, or round winner Josh Waters, Troy Herfoss, Glenn Allerton, Tom Bramich, Mike Jones, Arthur Sissis, and Brock Pearson. If you've got any suggestions of how we can make the show better, or any questions you'd like to ask riders for these chats, please just send us a message. We'd really like to hear that sort of feedback. We're going to try and do these a little bit more throughout the rounds throughout this year. If you like our content, make sure you hit subscribe on our YouTube channel, and we'll be back with another show shortly. First up, it was Josh Waters that we sat down and had a bit of a chat with. So let's hear what Josh has to say.
We were there, but through the practice, but the Yamaha guys really stepped it up this weekend. Their pace was extremely fast. So yeah, for qualifying after FP3, it was a big wake-up call because crew was a lot ahead. And then yeah, for qualifying, we improved the bike, and then overnight in the morning, we just went through everything again. We were here quite early and spent a fair bit of time just going through everything, and then yeah, warm up was good, and then obviously race 1 was good, and then race 2 was pretty cool.
Mate, like, you've been here a few times over summer. I've been here, like, watching you, filming you. The pace of yesterday.
Oh,
can you
believe it?
Yeah.
That was so crazy.
Yep.
Physical.
Yep.
Crazy. Yeah.
Good to be back here.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
The weather was a little bit, but yeah, it's great to, and the crowd I think was pretty good for, you know, for the weather.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even the footy struggles with the weather, you know.
Yeah, they get 2 people there.
Yeah,
You know, like,
so, but yeah, hopefully those guys follow the series now, and yeah, it'd be good.
Mate, highlight of the weekend, what's it got to be?
Maybe both wins. Winning in the wet was pretty cool because everyone, yeah, my bike, I've really gelled with it, and then to, yeah, do it in the wet also is pretty special.
Apart from being an unreal rider, you right? What's the combination? What's making it so good?
The bike, the team, yeah,
everything.
they're getting the best out of me.
Yeah.
They're always trying to make it better, so it's a big thing at the moment like that. Yeah.
5 weeks, we go to Queensland. What do you do between?
Go back to work.
Yeah.
So back to work on Monday morning.
No, fair call. Straight back to work, and then
nothing exciting.
Straight back to Queensland.
Hopefully get to do a test in Queensland, but yeah,
see how that goes. Awesome. Thanks for your time, mate.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Take that off, yeah.
Yep. Right, cheers,
Mate, fantastic.
Cheers for another great insight, Josh, and congratulations on a fantastic weekend, mate. Next up, we had Mike Jones discussing his weekend at Sydney Motorsport Park.
It's been it's been exciting racing here at Sydney Motorsport Park with a day-night format. We had a really good, solid first day. You know, finishing up the practices second overall and qualifying second on the grid, and setting a new PB for me here, and you know, going really quite fast with the other guys. The first race was a bit of a shocker. I made a terrible first start in the beginning and didn't get away well, so I was sort of like trying to claw my way back, but it was too late. Crew and Josh were miles off in the distance, so I was never coming back to catch them up. But yeah, obviously an unfortunate incident with the bike. We had something go wrong there, but yeah, essentially a DNF, so no points from the first race. And then the race 2 was a bit of a mixed bag in terms of conditions. The first start wasn't too bad, but it was tricky because we were starting on slicks and trying to run on a sort of a half wet, half dry track. And then the rain came, so then we stopped and had to try to get ourselves ready for a wet race, but that was really difficult because we were down a bike, and so that made things really tough on the guys in the team to try to change the bike that I was on in the dry and change it over to a wet bike. So we sort of ended up with we didn't end up with a full wet bike, so it made it challenging for that restarted race. But yeah, overall, not the results that I was coming here for. But at the end of the day, we've had such a flawless run, really for like the last 12, 14 months or so at the Yamaha racing team, and this is our first little hiccup, so we're just going to have to rebound and look forward to the next one.
Mate, you only just got back out onto the grid. Like, it was pretty close.
Yep.
I was wondering, you obviously got a bit change to make it a bit of a wet bike. There was a little bit of change because one bike down to pretty difficult, eh?
Yeah, that's it. So, like, I mean, we change ideally, from a wet bike and a dry bike is that the suspension changes, the electronic changes, obviously the wheels for the tyres. So to be able to do all of those changes in the space of I think about maybe like 3 or 5 minutes, between the restart. Like it's impossible. So with the one motorbike. So yeah, we did as much. The team did as much as they possibly could to change that bike and make it as soft as we possibly could for the wet, and adjust the electronics as best they could. But essentially, you're riding a dry setup bike with wet wheels in. So yeah, there's quite a bit of change between the wet and the dry bike.
Well, mate, there's some points in the bank there, and we go to Queensland, and yeah, the season looks up from here.
That's it. Cheers,
cool.
mate.
Thanks, mate.
It definitely sounds like an interesting weekend for the defending Australian Superbike champion Mike Jones. Our next guest was Troy Herfoss.
Oh, look, I'm trying to come to terms with, without sounding like a spoiled winner, like a bad sport. I've spent so long getting a win here and there, or for sure racing for the win.
Yeah.
And then it's been hard to swallow the last few rounds, just not being even close to the win. And even tonight, like, what do I say? Josh just done so good. Like he looked to have his own troubles on Friday, the first day, and then he just come out and won 2 races in very different conditions. So
yeah.
I'm like, I'm pretty happy. Like I had a good race. I made a couple of little mistakes. I was able to pass and sort of be that second fastest guy almost in that wet race, especially, and at least be like a podium guy, which is great. My crew obviously had more pace than me, but yeah, like I guess I'm trying to say I'm happy, but I don't want people to think I'm happy with just the podium. You know what I mean? It's like I want to win so bad, and I think that's why there's a few little mistakes showing. Like I'm sure in that race there, Josh probably had more of a mentality of in that wet race. I can probably sit back here and let the race come to me.
Yep.
Whereas I know that mentality. I know that's how you win races easier, but it's when you need to win. And there's big points deficit so early. Like I've got to be good, and that's when you leave some open mistakes. So yeah, talk all night about it. To be honest, like I loved it. It was a lot of fun racing at night, different conditions. But yeah, really would love to at least challenge. Be challenging him for a race win would be nice. So we'll just keep pushing ahead.
What's it take? That's a weird question.
It takes it's simple. Like they're just doing. With what they've got, they're doing very good with it. I'm sure they think they're not getting the most out of it, but they must be getting close to the best out of their package, and I think that's why they're doing so well. Like honestly, we're the same. We've got a great team around us. Like Honda management are here tonight, and the team's here, all behind me. We're all happy. We're all pushing forward. I'm sure we've got the same recipe they're using, but we're just that little bit behind. So. It's just going to take more work. We've just got to keep learning and get better.
As a team, you guys look happy. Like you're a happy team anyway, but looks like a friendly place to be at the moment. The results are here.
There's been honestly, I've needed to give myself a little bit of an attitude adjustment there. In the last few months, last year was really tough. Really tough. So it just feels like so long ago. That I was, because from what I've been through in the last year and a half, 2 years, it just feels like so long of a struggle. Whereas there was really good parts last year, but when I look back, it's still a struggle because I knew that I wasn't quite getting my best out of myself. But so a little bit of an adjustment there for myself, and just trying to enjoy the little wins we have, because when you don't enjoy them, you don't actually enjoy much at all, because there's not many people that get to win stuff, is there?
No, there's not.
So you've got to set goals, and when you do succeed in them little goals throughout the weekend or the week or whatever, you've got to enjoy them, and that's probably a process I've had to go through the last couple of years.
Enjoying it?
I'm enjoying it so much. Like I'm out in the motocross bike again, and my body's good, and I'm loving it. Like I feel like I'm riding really good. I'm just missing a little bit, but we'll keep working and we'll get there.
Cool, mate.
It is great to see Troy and the team back in some really good form. The competition up the front at the moment so solid between, basically top 12 competitors realistically. So after a bit more of a wander around pit lane, we end up coming across Tom Bramich just to see who's backing up the last bit of things at the circuit. So we'll throw you over to Tom now.
Up and down weekend. Started off, first practice was all right. Second practice, we sort of hit a wall that we weren't expecting to compared to testing. And then in the qualifying, put it in 7th. See you later. Put it in 7th. Made a good start in race 1, which we made a change in warm up, and the boys actually got me like really comfortable, and I went faster than my qualifying time in warm up.
Yep.
And then race 1, got a great start. Had good track position. I was in the top 3 from the start. Reeled out 11 of my best laps for the weekend. So I was really positive about that and finished 3.3 seconds off the win. So that was a positive for us, considering where we came from. And then the mist came in and the rain. In the second one, we went with the wets, which was the right decision for me. But we just struggled with a bit of lack of feel and probably a bit of confidence too. So, had a big one at Phillip Island in the wet, and probably just need to get a bit more wet testing under our belts and come out for the next one.
I was going to ask you about that. How much wet time have you done, really?
Oh, none. Phillip Island was my first time in the wet, and that was my second.
Yeah,
so
right.
I've done none. But it's not it means nothing. There's people like Dunker won the race, and this is his second ride on a 600. So, it's one of those. The wets, everyone knows it's one of those things. You've either got the feeling or you don't, because I've won races in the wet and qualified really well in the World Championship and everything. So I can definitely ride in the wet. It's just being able to extract it sooner in the race.
How's the grid? 600 Super Sport. Tell us about it. Pretty solid grid. Yeah. Like as in number of competitors. It's a deep field.
I think it's really healthy at the moment. I think like the lap times getting there at all the tracks we're going to, I'll be the first to admit, like everyone, I'm looking at obviously what we're doing, but like you're also comparing yourself to Paris when Crew was riding 600s and all those guys. So you know what the level needs to be at to be able to progress the Superbike, and that's what you need. That's what we aim for. But step by step, I think everyone's getting, the whole field's getting stronger, faster, field's deeper. And I was actually speaking to John Redding earlier today, and even he was saying 600 is almost as populated as 300s now, and Superbike's got what 10? 11?
Yeah, really. Yeah.
So I think it's really healthy and it's a good place to be at the moment.
I think that's good for the sport too.
Yeah.
Because all you guys are going to have to come through somewhere, so the Superbikes will get heaps coming through, and then you look at 300's going to come through to where you are now. It's actually good. It's in a good place. So,
and I think the World Championship rules are really helping that, because they're the Super Sport Evolution or whatever they call it, the new rules, and being able to have more than one manufacturer is a good thing for the sport.
For sure.
We're really lucky here in Australia with the Yamaha contingency program and YRD and stuff, and without them, I don't think Supersport will be near as packed as what it is, because it's just so expensive and they make it possible for everyone to race. But I think even more manufacturers coming into the championship, into the sport, into racing, like MB Gusta, Triumph, Ducati, like with the V2, I think it's a good thing. So I really hope that Australia follows suit with the World Championship, and I know BSB is going that way this year. So it'll be really good for our championship to follow suit.
It's a pretty exciting time if that progresses. So
it will be,
What happens now, mate? You got 5 weeks till Queensland.
5
what do you do?
weeks, We're probably looking at getting a testing up at QR.
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to Queensland Raceway. I was good there last year with no testing and fighting for podiums, and so I actually really like the track. I like going to Queensland. Hopefully it's hot. No rain, it'll be nice.
That's been the weird thing, Phillip Island this weekend.
Yeah.
we've not known if it's going to be wet or dry until 2 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, 2 minutes out.
Yeah.
To have a nice, consistent weekend would be nice.
Yeah,
So,
I'd love nothing more than just to wake up every morning and not have to look at the skies. So,
awesome, mate.
Yeah.
Well, have a good night. And
Thank you very much.
thanks to catch up.
yeah, thanks, mate.
Cheers, brother.
Thank you.
Amongst a pretty tricky weekend, it was great to see Tom have a good weekend at Sydney Motorsport Park and give a bit of an insight there too about obviously the different supersport rules globally. So be interesting to see what happens with those as we move forward here in Australia. Next up was Glenn Allerton, just as he was doing his last little bit of media interviews with a couple of different people and whatnot. So we sat down with Glenn for just a short moment just to have a chat about his new team and how things went for him this weekend.
Yeah, so qualifying, I actually was happy with sixth position because I got everything out of the bike that I could get. It's just the pace was hot at the front, and those guys that do the lap times that they did, my hat's off to them because that's fast. And we got some ground to make up. But like I said, I got everything out of it that I could. Obviously missing the test here probably put us on the back foot, but I know this track really well, and still I was confident for the race. And the first race got a great start and managed to get away with the front two, and we were sort of going backwards there towards the end, but I just feel like our setting wasn't quite right for the tyre that we needed to run here. But it's a work in progress. Every time the track gets resurfaced or the conditions change, sometimes you can hit the setup, and we were just off a little bit this weekend. But I took that last race. I got on the front foot because it was wet and I wanted to be at the front and I wanted to win the race. So I took off and pushed hard through the wet patches, and it was looking good until the rain started coming down. And I didn't want it to rain, but I actually had my hand up because it was getting sketchy up towards the back end of the circuit across those bumps. And then again, got on the front foot with the wet race, tried to get to the front. And, I was desperate to try and win here in front of my home crowd. Family's here, got the new team. You know, first time out with a new race team, and we wanted to get a result. It's we're a little bit off with the setting, but that's just part of a new team growing and teething, and we'll manage to get on top of all those settings, and we'll get our way to the front.
What was it like of a night time with the drizzle? What's it
Oh
like?
yeah, it was terrible.
Oh really?
Yeah, I had a tear off on, and water got in between the tear off, and I didn't want to pull it, but I had to. And then it wasn't raining, so it was more of a mist, and it was like it was hitting the front of the visor of the motorbike and then hitting, turning into a vapor onto my helmet. So I'm sure for everybody it was difficult, but your perception of the surface and the contrast, it was really difficult to understand under the lights. Wow. And in a few crucial spots. So everybody had to take risks then, and but it was a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
Good, and it's great to have a big crowd here. I think it was a successful weekend.
It's good to be back in Sydney, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Just to reiterate what Glenn said there about the crowd at Sydney Motorsport Park, there was a fair one up on the hill. It was great to see, and the weather was a bit tricky in Sydney on Saturday night, but there was a good turnout. You see all the headlights of the cars up on the hill, and just a really good atmosphere at that event. And next up, we had Arthur Sissis have a talk about his weekend and where they need to find some pace and everything like that. And we look forward to seeing Arthur back in Queensland. He was quick up here last year, and we'll throw it over to Arthur now.
It started off a bit slow. I haven't done many laps around here, and I was just getting my bearings around here, and we made a good step in free practice 2 and 3, but everyone else was going so fast. When we made a step, they made a big step as well, so we were still a little bit on the back foot, but qualifying went okay. I've done my best time that I've ever done around here, and the 2 races went not too bad as well. So
nice. Is this one of those places that takes laps, just chuck laps at it to be good at it? What's it like?
I think I've only done a race meeting and the test here, and the guys in front of me, they've done probably 10,000 laps around here. So I think they'd know every bump. Every time I went out, I went faster, and I got closer to them, but they were just flying. So I think the experience of racing on this track was a big part. So.
Bike looks on rails. You look happy. Good weekend overall?
Decent from where we were at the start of the weekend and even at the test. So went quite fast and was quite happy with the first race, and the second race was pretty good in the wet as well. So
now we go to Queensland. What happens from there?
good track. I enjoy that track, and yeah, we'll try. I finished 4th last year, and we'll try go a few more better this year.
Unreal, mate. See you up there.
Cool. No worries. Thank you.
Next up, we have Brock Pearson talk about his weekend.
Yeah, I think I mentioned a few times, but just to recap, we did have a little bit of a tough one on Friday, just with a few issues, and pretty much went into qualifying, cutting our first few consistent laps for the day. So that was a little bit difficult. I was just behind the 8 ball personally, but we got going and we continued to get a lot faster over the weekend. Race 1, I had really good pace, but just made a mistake on my behalf, trying to just be aggressive at the start because I qualified quite poorly. But like in short, the pace was actually really good, enough for the top 5, so I was happy with that. And yeah, second race, I was quite wet in the first half the lap. The rest of it was dry, and we were on dry tyres, and I really enjoyed it. I felt like I could risk a little bit to get myself in the mix, and I don't really know where I got myself to at the closest end of the front, but you know, we were definitely towards the front. You know, like looking like we were in for a win. Well, as I should say, sorry, in fighting for wins. You know, like being at the right side of the field. So that was really nice, and yeah, come out in the end, red flagged and raced, and went back out and come out P6. So yeah, nice to get in the mix tonight and yeah, get amongst it.
Looked like a good race. Tonight looked like a real fun race. You're battling. Bike looked good. Everything looked good.
Yeah, there were certain areas where I felt really strong, and I need to learn a little bit with some passing on the sub bikes, and just, you know, you can only learn that when you start to mix it with the boys. You know, when you ride around by your own, cutting your own laps and not being able to run their pace, and then one day you start to run their pace, well, you just can't expect to just naturally pass them and have that ability. So I need a little bit of work there, but yeah, bike felt really good in the first one. Struggled a little bit for grip in the second one, but hey, nevertheless, we did well.
Coming up Queensland Raceway, it's a good place, it's home. What's it going to take up there?
I think that we've learned a lot this weekend in terms of the bike, and I think it's since we last rode at Queensland Raceway, we've taken a different direction that's working better. So I'm really happy with what we've established, in my opinion, and I think that no matter where we go this year, I think we've learned a lot this weekend that's going to help us.
Cool, mate. Thanks for your time.
No worries.
Thank you to all the riders for taking the time out to have a bit of a chat while you were trying to pack up and all that sort of thing. So really appreciate it. If you enjoy listening to the show, take a screenshot on your phone, post it on social media, or tell your friends or anything like that. It helps grow the show a little bit. The other thing is make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Talk and Chatter Experience, and we'll be back with another show real soon. Cheers.